the Chase Thomas podcast for people who have nothing but time to kill.
What happens if Jonas goes to Asheville instead of Arkansas this past year?
He'd probably dominate.
He would have made a lot less money. I can tell you that much.
But he would have made a lot more threes, and we'll leave it there. Ryan, most intriguing UT commit over the weekend for UT football was who, in your estimation?
The legend.
The legend.
Yeah,
his huddle tape is fantastic. If you dive into the Legend Bey huddle tape, and you're like, oh, this is fun stuff.
Here's a little bit, and it's different because he's a quarterback, and this guy was not a quarterback in high school. A little bit of Boo Carter to him in the high school.
He does have a little bit of Boo.
Yeah, he's just electric to watch. He's one of the guys I would say so far that I'm most excited about in Tennessee's class. So, what does it exactly look like? Like, it seems to me like he's got a slot receiver skill set. Tennessee, one of Tennessee's best commits right now is a no doubter slot receiver in Tyreek King. So we'll see how all that shakes out in time. But he is the one I'm most intrigued about. And like you said, his huddle is pretty electric.
Well, I don't actually think it matters for one of the spots. Because remember, Javonte Payton was an outside guy. And it was just straight down the field. Dante Thornton was just straight down the field speed on the outside. And I think that's why Tennessee put him in the slot originally, because I think they wanted him in the slot. But then he was more comfortable on the outside. So Tyreek King could be an outside guy. I don't think it's like locked in if they need him on the
Tyreek King. They're both so short.
What was Javonte Payton?
6'3".
Was he?
Maybe he
was
over
6'3".
He might have been 6'1".
He's 6'1". Yeah.
6'1".
So I don't know. I mean, what is Mike Matthews? Mike Matthews is barely 6'2", right?
I think he's like 6 foot.
Yeah, he's barely.
I thought he was 5'10". One second, I'm looking this up.
He's 6'1", but that might be a very generous 6'1".
I think that's generous.
I might go 6
generous 6'1". But he's got to be the shortest guy that's played outside for Tennessee.
Yeah,
or will be. So
yeah,
not that it's impossible, but a little.
We need to see him standing next to Travis Smith Jr. Like, I need to, or Chris Bradley. I need to see, because I think those two are legitimately tall. And I want to see then we'll have a good idea of the actual height there. It's the Trae Young thing, where Trae Young's height's never been like accurate or either. I mean, even Zakai. What did Tennessee list Zakai at?
5'9".
Do you think that's accurate?
No.
Okay.
I think he's 5'7".
No.
That's not like any intel. No one's told me that. I tried to probe Zakai about it one time, about how tall he actually is, and he wouldn't give in. He just kept on saying he's 5'9" with a smirk on his face.
I love that. Well, I'm a big believer.
Maybe he's 5'8". I don't know, dude. He is short. He is really short.
As someone who's 5'10" without shoes, I am 5'11" with shoes, which is really close to 6 feet. And at that point, you might as well just say 6 feet. I'm in the 6 feet family. Like, I'm 6 foot adjacent.
Have you seen the Instagram reel, Chase, of the guy talking about how 5'11" is actually the peak height, the best height that you want to be?
That's tough, because it's not.
That's bad podcasting, but that's going to be you at 5'10". He's like, once you get to 6 foot, like, what are you looking for up there? What are you trying to find up there? And then you get lower, you get to 5'9", 5'8", you're really short.
Yeah.
But 5'10", 5'11", that's where you want to be. That's the money spot.
100%. 100%. Tough look, but I mean, yeah, I remember, like, Ethan, do you remember the first time we all met up at Litton's and Ryan was asking, like, what it was like for me to be 5'10"? Because he was just it was just, you could get the sense that he was a little envious of being over 6 feet. And he was like, yeah, I mean, it's great. Like, I love being 5'10".
It's so funny. I vaguely remember that. Yes.
Yeah.
I was asking, I don't know. I think maybe it was the first time I'd seen Chase in person, and the height, the lack of hair, I was just real jealous of.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
I'm giving myself a technical.
Oh my God.
I couldn't resist.
Just sit in the penalty box, Ryan. Goodness gracious.
Where's Tony Reale when you need him? Like, so many points off the board. You're in the negatives. Negative 17 right now for Ryan Schumpert on this podcast. Unbelievable. Goodness gracious. On the other side of things, Ethan, is Legend Bey your most interesting recruit, or is it somebody else?
Yeah, that was going to be my pick as well. And for the exact reasons that you guys said. I mean, he has, I feel like, the highest ceiling of the group just because of how much of an athletic freak he is. And his name is Legend Bey. So, I feel like on top of everything you guys said and I've said, I think that adds to it as well.
I think he's right there. I do think it's interesting, like how I think people look at him and they're like, okay, so is he a slot guy at 5'9", 170? Is he whatever? I'm like, I mean, Heupel has evolved. Like I just kind of touched on it with Peyton on the outside, Dante Thornton in the slot, Dante Thornton on the outside, Mike Matthews, one of the more undersized outside guys he's had to this point. Jalen Hyatt, completely different slot guy. You had Squirrel White, completely different slot guy. You had Velus Jones, who was a running back in the NFL. Like I think he's going to figure out and kind of like Boo Carter, I thought was bust potential. Wait, what am I trying to say? He's bust proof is what I was trying to say. He was bust proof coming out, where I just thought if he went to Michigan, he went to Colorado, he went to Tennessee, Boo Carter was going to be a star wherever he went. I just thought he was just going to be a playmaker. I think that might be Legend Bey. Like if you just get Legend Bey in that receiver room and just let him do stuff pre-snap motion, you let him do stuff in the red zone, you do some wildcat stuff for him. I just think he's going to figure it out. Like his high school stuff, I just feel like that he's just the kind of player who just figures it out on wherever he goes. Like if he plays at A&M, if he plays at Georgia, he plays at Tennessee, Legend Bey, I think is just going to be a really good football player. I will say though, the one other one this weekend that I thought was fascinating was Edward Baker, the 3-star to St. Francis. That's 3 St. Francis kids. And then right after, Brandon Anderson, 4-star North Cobb, who used to be committed to Tennessee, seemed like it was trending back in the good direction. And then he ends up at Mizzou, and it's like, 1 day after Edward Baker commits to Tennessee. So I do think that was interesting. And that's kind of going to be a big eval test of what those two, because it seems like it was one or the other from the outside looking in. So
I think that's correct.
Yeah. And
from what I've heard,
I think it's fascinating is they went with Baker there potentially. So we'll see. That's a great prep school. And obviously Eders Frug and Dominic Bailey, 2 St. Francis guys, they recruit Baltimore really well. And Dante Thornton, another Baltimore guy. And so we'll see. I think it's interesting on the interior front. I mean, Spraggs was a 3-star guy, and he had a really great Tennessee career under Heupel, and Ollie Lane, another 3-star guard. And I mean, he's only a guard at that point, but I do think it's interesting. And someone made a good point I saw the other day where it's like, I think fans who freak out over like, oh, you picked the 3-star with 4-star. It's like that. You just want the good, like guards are a little bit different. You look at guards different than tackles. You don't want to stockpile a bunch of 3-star tackles, but 3-star guards, I don't really look at the same. And I think that's obviously coming from a football powerhouse. I look at that a little bit different. But like, some of these tackles are going to move inside. Like, it's just how it's going to be. Like Trey Smith had to move inside. Like that's part of how it goes. Like you want to accumulate as many tackles. You want Kamari Blair. You want Brody Smith. You want to keep stacking as many tackles because you can always move those guys inside. Like Gage Ginther, who was a 4-star tackle out of Colorado. I think he's been moving guard. Sham Umarov was a tackle at Denmark and Georgia. He's working at guard at Tennessee. So it's just like, I understand like people like, oh, how do you go 3-star or 4-star? I'm like, there's a lot more to it on this particular front. And I think the main thing is you want as many blue chip tackles as you can get in the boat because you can always move them inside. You can't really move guards around. Like guards are just guards if you bring them in that way.
Yeah, for sure. I think the key on the guards aspect is like finding guys that are centers, that are true centers.
Like Nick Moore and Ogamoro, who was in this past class. Yeah. Same kind of deal.
Yeah. I want to see the ratio of players Tennessee assigned from Maryland in the last 5 to 10 years. What percentage of them went to St. Francis? Because it seems like all of them to me.
It's a good question. I mean, Thornton didn't. I know that.
Yeah, but out of high school guys they got.
It's a good question.
Here's a good throwback name for you, Aaron Willis.
Was he a St. Francis guy?
Yep.
Interesting.
Because him and Dominique Bailey were same class, same high school.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I mean, St. Francis is a powerhouse because I think, did Angel Reese go to St. Francis for basketball? I want to say.
I'm not sure on that. I mean, obviously I know she's from Baltimore, but I'm not positive where she went
to. Unless I'm wrong, I think she went to St. Francis, if I remember correctly. Yes, she went to St. Francis. Yeah. St. Francis, powerhouse in athletics in Baltimore. Ethan, you have I'm going to throw this to you first because
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.